the sun is just starting to climb up over the treetops. And it's gonna be a beautiful day, that's plain to see.
Welcome to Bill Dance Outdoors, America's most popular and longest running TV fishing show.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.
Strong fish right there. Woo! They just hit that thing so light. Pretty baby. Come back here and say good morning to you. Take the whole fishing pole underwater. Can't hold that pole and get you too. That's not a pole, son. That's a fishing rod. Been reminded of that so many times. You're looking at it too, aren't you? Mr. Chubby. Yes, you are. Toodaloo. Okay, that's a good way to get things going. Hello, everybody. You know, I'm constantly hearing little tidbits about fishing. And believe it or not, many have helped me with my fishing. Some are just interesting facts, but others simply amaze me. So, as we fish along today, I'd like to share some of them with you, like these right here. Did you know bass feed more often in late spring, summer, and the early fall months? And a bass's first year is by far the deadliest. Not all bass reach maturity of 12 inches. In fact, mortality sometimes exceeds 90%. Hey, did you know this? Cover isn't nearly as important to the smallmouth bass as it is to the largemouth. And something else that's important that you might not know. The Swanee bass is one that researchers say are at risk of extinction. And something else I found pretty interesting. Bass don't grow according to age. They grow according to food intake and the type of food. Did you know a 2-pound bass can be the same age as a 10-pound bass? That's right. Another one going out. Nice one. Oh, yes. Where are you going? Strong fish right there, brother. Not that good. You liked it, didn't you? Huh? I know you did. Strong fish. Yes, you are. Good one. Toodaloo, boy. That fish gave me a good fight, and I appreciate that. Here comes old dummy. Old dumb looking thing. I caught a lot of fish on these baits, though. And Bass Pro sells, they're a 5-star rated bait at Bass Pro, so they must sell tons of them. Look here, I think one hit it. I tell myself that, it just makes me feel good.
Bill Dance Outdoors is sponsored in part by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Rebel, catch fish anywhere. And by Mercury Marine, go boldly. Today's Conditions Log is brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development. Come experience the kind of beauty that can only be made in Tennessee. Go online today for your free Tennessee vacation guide.
There he is. I don't know where he's going. Where he wants to go, I guess. Whoa. Buster. That's fun right there. Got around that pad. Now, he'll come back here to get you now. Oh, good hook too. You want to use a wide gap hook when you use these bigger bodied baits. Nice fish. See ya. See, that's a wide gap gamakatsu, and I like that's an EWG. I like a wide bend when you use one of these baits. Another key thing, when you rig it, you want to rig it where it is perfectly straight with the line. That way. And it moves in a more of a straight line. It's got a crook in it like this. If you rig it like this, it's got a bend in it like that. What it's going to do, it's going to come through the water like that, and it's going to twist. It's going to twist your line, and the first time it climbs over something, it's going to rotate into that bend, and as it comes down, it's going to hang. That point's already in my finger, right there. So the key is to keep it perfectly straight with the line. Okie dokie, here's some more tidbits. In most bodies of water, about 1 in 10 bass beds have a successful hatch at best. Here's something else that's interesting. A bass uses the eyes on a forage fish as a focal point during the strike. And a largemouth bass's tail is larger in proportion to its body for a quick forward thrust. Something else we all know, especially crankbait fishermen, a stop and go retrieve with a lure is perceived by a bass as more like the action of living prey. Nice one. Ooh-wee. Doggone fish is strong. Hey, he's strong. That clear water, they just want to go down. Not a pretty thing. Yes, you are, you little darling. Okay, toodaloo. Been eating shad or something, and stickos. That was his first sticko. I don't think he liked it. Ouch, it stung him.
Today's show is sponsored in part by Quantum Rods and Reels, Mystic Lubricants, Lubrication Domination, and Tracker Boats, fish the finest. Today's show is sponsored in part by Stren, the standard of dependability since 1958. Lure Lock, turning the tackle world upside down. And Garmin, fight your fish, not your fish find you. Today's equipment log is brought to you in part by Gamakatsu, because the fish of a lifetime only comes once in a lifetime.
He came right up here beside the boat and got it. I was just looking down, looking over at the, well, I wasn't looking down, I was looking over to the bushes, and I just looked down at my bait. And I said, well, look at there, there's a fish. The rascal had it. There we go. You're welcome. What's all of your eye? Oh, bushes. I mean, leaves. See ya. I want to just show you something. When you're fishing, oftentimes your hook, your line will spin around and catch right there where the hook eye meets the shank of the hook, and when you set the hook, it'll break. So periodically you need to check and keep that knot straight right here. So that's real important, because if it gets right there in that little spot where the hook eye comes around and meets where they connect, you run the risk of breaking your line. Did you know if you took a Florida strain bass and a native bass and put them in the same waters, neither one of them would grow any faster, but the Florida bass would live longer, which accounts for its eventual larger size. Experienced bass may feed selectively, passing up forage they've learned that's hard to catch. Most big bass are females because they live longer than males. And bass tend to move at constant depths while searching for a meal. Bass tend to hold at the same depth day after day, making depth changes gradually. Water temperature and clarity determines where bass and prey are located throughout the year. Good. Whoa, baby. Yeah. Woo. Pretty thing. That a pretty one? Woo! Yes, sir. I see you, buddy. Moving along, the best angle to hook a fish is when he's moving directly away from you. It's easier to hook and hold a bass with a single hook. Any bass you see below the surface can also see you. Bass can see at about 0.1% of surface light. To estimate the depth where light intensity drops to that level, simply multiply by 4 the depth at which a white skirted spinnerbait disappears from sight. This will give you an approximation of the depth down to which bass can find your lure by sight. The Bill Dance Question and Answer of the Week is brought to you by Mystic Lubricants and their complete line of JT4 marine products. A full line of products for your full line of pursuits. Visit mysticlube.com today. How often do you oil your reels? Reels tend to be one of the most neglected items of your tackle. They should be well cared for. Now, I try to clean and oil my reels every month with a quality lightweight oil. 1 drop on the bearings and other moving parts is plenty. The key is to apply it at regular intervals. Don't add clean oil to dirty oil. That will only compound the problem.
Today's show is sponsored in part by Millennium Marine, a new class of comfort. And Motor Guide, trolling motors engineered for anglers. Closed captioning provided by Power Pole, the original shallow water anchor. Today's product tip is brought to you by Garmin and their GPS map series, chart plotter sonar combos. With advanced sonar technology like Chirp and exclusive Panoptix all-seeing sonar, you'll spend less time finding your fish.
You know, I'm always looking for a better monofilament line. No more. I found one. Trilene's XL. XL's formula has 20% greater knot strength, 50% greater wet strength, and 20% more flexibility than the original formula. What more can you ask for? Berkeley XL.
Come be a part of Bill Dance Digital. Join us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Follow us.
Good one. Woo! Woo! Look at here, look at here. What are you gonna do? Take off again? Just don't tear up my bait. Johnny Morris only gave me 3 packs this month. That's a pretty one. Bait just really doesn't have a lot of action. It just comes through the water. It looks like a pencil, a blue pencil, a black and blue pencil. Ready for some more? Okay, here goes. Bass, like many other game fish, have the ability to change color to adapt to their surroundings. Predator fish, like the bass, select and attack one specific victim at a time. Bass also have the ability to instantly judge the size of their prey before attacking it. Underestimating the girth of its prey could be fatal. Florida bass don't bite as well as native or northern largemouth bass. Since we mentioned Florida bass, Here's something you might find interesting about them. Did you know that Florida bass are really lake bass? Whereas the northern or native bass was originally a river bass, which adapted to an environment that changed from free-flowing rivers to impoundments more than 75 years ago. You know, it wasn't until 1949 that fishery biologists could distinguish the northern bass from the Florida bass. And a bass is just as much a predator as a shark. Also, if a bass must expend more than the normal energy to catch its prey, than the nourishment the prey will bring, it isn't worth the effort. Fish like the bass like to hang out along marginal territories where the land beneath the surface changes. A single condition that has more effect than any other on shallow water bass behavior is barometric pressure. Oh, I think I got one. There he is. You see him? Oh, look at here. I told you. Oh, Big Daddy. Got it. See you, old boy. Well, how about that? Well, it's time to move on. It's time for y'all to move on. I ain't going anywhere. But before y'all go, let me leave you with this final tidbit. The reason bass are so hard to figure out, well, it's really simple. They think like bass, not like fishermen. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. But before we do, sometime this week, if you've got a little time, go by Bass Pro and pick you up some of these. They're called Stickos, and let me tell you, they do a heck of a job. We'll see you.
Thanks for watching Bill Dance Outdoors. Join us here again next week.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.